Okay, to continue, no, from simple to complexities, we after the hunting and gathering society, there goes the agriculture society in which people learn to survive through food production, no, producing their own food and domesticating animals and planting crops. What happened next? And when they realized that they produce more food than they have demanded, so nagkaroon ito ng mga agricultural surpluses. So with the agricultural revolution, people create surpluses. No? They started to exchange what they have to other people and eventually stay engaged trading with other society as far as from Asia to Africa or vice versa. So from the simple society of the agricultural people, they learned that their food is so much more than they wanted. So they started to exchange it. Actually, di lang ito binibigay o kaya may binibenta o pinagpapalit ito sa mga ibang tribu, yung mga iba't ibang tao. So that's the point of the trading started. Doon ang galing, no, na-realize nila, sobra-sobra ang pagkain, bakit hindi natin ito ipagpalit o ipamigay sa iba? Okay? That's the point, no? Then, brought about by cross-border, no, trade in goods and services, the rest is foundation of the globalization. Yung mga sobrang produkto ng isang bansa ay binibenta ito sa ibang bansa in a form of, yun nga yung tinatawag nating imperialism. Ano? Hindi man control ito ng kanilang the notion of economics, but also sometimes nagdedepende ang isang country doon sa produkto ng isang bansa. At yung country na nagpo-produce nito, na nagpo-produce ng sobra-sobra, ay idinadala sa ibang bansa. Okay? That's what you call imperialism. Pero that is the foundation of globalization. Nag-globalize ang product. Okay? So the results, this stipulated a global quest among Europeans for wealth, power, and discovery of new lands. Na-open up na no? Na-open up na yung door, na-open up na yung highways, na-open up na yung ways and means. Yan na, nagkaroon na ng the discovery of new lands. So the immediate catalyst for European imperialism was the Ottoman conquest. The Ottoman, no, people from the Middle East disrupted the flow of the Southeast Asian spices to Europe. So ang ginawa nila ito, the Ottoman did was they blockaded the direct trade route connecting Africa, Europe, and Asia. So dumadaan kasi ito sa mga teritoryo nila, kaya hinaharangan nila ito. Kung hindi man nila ito harangin, ay kinukuha yung mga produkto or ah hinihingan ito no, ng mga passages. So this triggers to look for the alternative route for finding the Spice Island on the far side of the earth. That's why when the route was blockaded by the Ottoman people or yung mga Turks, yung mga Turko, no, na nagkaroon sila ng alternative route for finding the Spice Island. That's why Magellan, looking for the so-called Spice Island, he went also on alternative ways to find these islands. Kaya doon na nagsimula yung pagdaloy ng mga people who traveled from east to west to east, and from different parts of the country. In which the point here is not only to explore things, but also economically, to sell products, to give product, or to exchange products. Okay? So ayan siya, no? Nabuo yung tinatawag nating Silk Road. At ang Silk Road na ito ay ginamit din ng mga ibang lahi ito, madalas na ring daanan. Tulad ng Ottoman Empire trade routes na ginamit na rin yung Silk Road kung saan papunta, saan patungo at anong daan papunta doon sa iba't ibang kontinente. Pero during that time, in 1683 AD, at its greatest extent, yung Turkey, yun yung tinatawag na Ottoman Empire, ay talagang lumaganap siya during the time of colonization and territorial expansion. Okay? So the Ottoman people was dominated by the Turks, but not only dominated by the Turks, but also Arab, the Kurds, the Greek, the Armenians, and other ethnic minorities. So if you're watching movie and you find looking at this kind of people, so ito yun, ano? Ito yung mga bagay, ito yung mga tao na, okay? Ayan siya. They started selling products. This is a depiction, no? Hindi ito tunay na picture, pero this is just depictions or drawings how we imagine yung exchanges of good from time to time. Okay? So, ayan siya. So, lumaganap yung the territories of the Turks. Okay? What else? Ano pa yung iniwan ng mga colonization na yun at saka yung mga imperialism niya? The classical antiquity, no? Characterized by the emergence of power empires with very large territories. So kapag nasakop nila yan, eh nakakapag-establish sila ng malalaking territories during that time. Tulad ng pagkakaroon ng mga Greek city-states, no? Lalo na yung isang Roman Empire. Pag nag-explore sila sa ibang bansa, they establish an empire and establish a structure. Ganun din yung mga Han Dynasty of China and the Persian Empire. Okay? Ayan siya. The Greek city-states. So lumawak siya, no? Lumawak yung mga territories ito. At nagkaroon ito ng mga ano no, ng mga structures na makikita natin based on the history na sa kanila nang galing ito at nagiging legacy ito, no? Structurally. Okay? Ganun din ang Roman Empire na on the bandwagon of extending territories, ayan na rin siya. So makikita nyo yung pagsakop ng mga ibang-ibang bansa ay dala na rin dyan yung political, economic, and social, no? Implications of the globalization, politics sa political ay yung governance. No? Hindi meron silang control over certain territories. Economic, free trading ito, no? They are free to trade to in some way territories bounded by their power. Okay? For the social, uh, ano na rin, ano, lumaganap na rin yung galaw ng tao na yun at lumabas na sila sa kanilang mga teritoryo at pumunta sa iba't ibang lugar. So by this time, makikita na natin ano, kung ano yung implication ng globalization sa world. In a different empire, dynasties, or extending territories. Okay? Lalo na yung mga Persian Empire, no? Ito talaga yung bago dumating yung mga German and talagang sila yung unang nananakop, no, ng mga lugar during in a certain territories. Lumawak ang Persian Empire. Tulad nito, no? Yan. Nakita niyo na ba yung pelikula ng 300, no? So that is from the area of Greece. Tapos pumapasok yung mga Persian warriors, no? Sa pagpapalaganap ng kanilang empire. So yun. Anyway, Persia is what known for today. What known today siya, Persia. What country? Kaya nga, by its term, no, they are not Arab, no, they are Persian. They call themselves. Okay. Now, this empire had a centralized government and necessary institutions for governance. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no, the implication of the political, social, and economic. This involves implementation of policies, construction of roads, so ayan na, no, create and enforce laws for their people and imposition of taxes to their people to finance the multifarious activities of the kingdom. So, malawakang gobyerno na ito, inclusive with their kingdoms. with their territories. And because of the presence of this institution, they were able to provide stability and network across its territory. See, hindi lang dun sa kanilang particular area, no? Kundi dun sa kanilang outside borders, kanilang mga territories. They have established institutions and governments. Now, these empires like the Arab Empire, Persian Empire, and the Indian Empire, Chinese and Roman Empire exhibited extensive trade routes both inland and the sea, which paved way for easy exchange of goods, services, and cultures among people in Africa and Europe and Asia. So this trade route is better known as as what we call it, the Silk Road. So ito yung mga picture of I have the chance to grab this picture, no? Na ito yung dating daanan ng Silk Road, no? But sabi ko kanina, nagkakaroon ng mga, ano ba tawag dito? Yung maharang, no? Like the Ottoman people, like the Ottoman people, hinaharang, nag-aambush, o ayan, nagkakaroon ng ano, no? Hindi lang nagkaroon ng iisang s- main road for as we call it, the Silk Road, kundi there are alternative ways. So pag nagkaroon ng mga alternative ways dyan, nagkakaroon ng pagsakop din, no? Doon sa iba't ibang bahagi, no? O sa kalapit lugar ng Silk Road. Kaya nagkakaroon na rin ng ano doon, paglaganap ng mga produkto. Take note on the notes that when the Silk Road traverse with the different continents, ganun din yung not only for the economic purposes ito, no? May manifestations ito na talagang pati ang mga tao ay napapadayo at doon na tumitira at doon na rin nag-establish. Kaya hindi lang economic ito, no? Also the people, also the social, and of course the governance. As what we looking at this, um, eto yung ano, no, example ito yung example nung ano, no, nung Silk Road, no? Yung caravan nila. Ito ay ano lang, ito ay modern picture ito ha. It's just an illustrations kung paano sila nag-travel by desert, by ganyan siya. Eh, wag mabahala dun ha. This is also another illustrations on how tradings, no, nagaganap. Ayun, nagtitimbangan, no, may kapalit silang may mga coins. So, ganyan yung ano niya, tradings. Of course, they are not Chinese. That's why I have told you na nung nagkaroon ng Silk Road, ginamit na rin ng mga iba't ibang travelers and traders yung mga ruta, no? Pati yung sa tubig. Kaya ayun na rin ang naging ano. So the Silk Road opens the trading opportunities from different nations. Oh, ayan, this is another illustration on how traders and from the buyers and the sellers, ito yung senaryo nila, no? Kung nakikita mo sa pelikula to, that's true, no? Ganyan talaga yung palengke, tapos iba't ibang nasyon, iba-ibang produkto. Okay? In a way, naging maganda yung ano na yun, part of global economy, no, global market, kasi hindi lang isang produkto ang makikita mo, marirealize mo, kundi marami kang makikita, marami kang matututunan, at marami kang mako-consume. Silk is famous material used by the nobility and is sought after. Kaya naging sikat yung silk ng mga Chinese dahil ginamit ito ng iba't ibang nasyon, lalo na yung mga yung mga Romans, no, na ginamit ito damit kasi napakasutla nito at napakagandang tela. Ginamit ito ng mga nobles. Similarly, the Chinese nobility admired the Roman horses for their sheer and endurance and speed. As an exchange it, yun yung naging ano nila, kapalit yung mga kabayo, mga baka, etc. Arab merchants and Indian merchants also navigate the seas with the trade ports with their own goods such as, ito na, the herbs and spices. Ayan na yung mga Indian merchant. Okay? So lumaganap na ang trading. A depiction of nobles wearing silk. Then, brought about by cross-border trades in goods and services, the rest is the foundation of globalization. There is also the age of exploration, no, amidst a political conflict among the king and queens during that time. Christianity played a huge part as a balancer in the conflict. One of the examples of this is the conflict between Spain and Portugal over lands discovered or explored by Christopher Colomb and other explorers in the 15th century. So ayan, no, Spain and Portugal, nagkaroon sila ng trouble in discovering islands, discovering territories. And the Vatican, through Pope Alexander VI, issued the papal bull setting up line of demarcation dividing the New World by drawing a north-south line of division in the Atlantic Ocean. Sir, bakit European ang nag-design? Anyway, sila yung unang nakinabang at sila yung unang nakagamit ng ano, no, ng mga ganitong klaseng advances ng technologies and way of discovering island. Sila yun, kaya sila yung nag-design. Okay? Yan siya. So the demarcation line is better known as the Treaty of the Tordesillas, which actually subdivides the globe based on their territories, ay hinati ito, no, sa pagitan ng Spain at Portugal. Spain and Portugal, sila yung unang ano, no, yung malalaking bansa sa larangan ng discoveries of lands. So napagkasunduan ito through the Papal Bull na hatiin ito. Lahat ng nasa bahagi ng Spain ay ang Spain lang ang mag-explore. While on the part of Portugal, sa Portugal lang ang makikinabang doon sa ganong klaseng areas. Okay, ayan siya. So this is a drawing of the world map. Tapos ayun sa hinati isa dun sa gitna. On the side of Spain and the side of Portugal. Pero during that time, no, there is an issue. Why did Spain colonize the Philippines when in the Treaty of Tordesillas, the colonization of Eastern Island was given to Portugal? Bakit nga ba? Okay? By the intention of the Spanish conquistadores during that time, no, Magellan, they are not expected to dock in the Philippine shores, but they are looking for the Spice Island in West Indies, no? Yung sa India, doon sila papunta. Eh, naligaw sila. Ayan. Okay? So, the Treaty of Tordesillas doesn't apply here, but because of the discoveries of the islands, ayun na yun, and became the history. Okay? Ayan, the view of the territories. Then, brought about by the cross-borders, trading youth services, establishment of concrete trading policy, the rest is the foundation of globalization. Okay? Hindi lang free trade para nagkakaroon na rin ng governance, the economic governance in terms of trading policy. So, napapolish na yung ano, no? Yung structure ng governance during that time. Not only political, social, but also economic. Okay? So, based on the National Geographic Education, globalization is the connection of different parts of the world, resulting in the expansion of what? Not only economic, but also international, cultural, and political activities. Okay? So, during the time Renaissance, European thinkers, writers, and artists began to look back and celebrate the art and culture of the ancient Greece and Rome, and also they focus on human instead to God, divinity, or religious beliefs. So this is the start of the revival of the Greek philosophy on humanism, as I told you before. Focus sila dun sa humanism, wherein man is the measure of everything. So Renaissance was succeeded by the intellectual awakening or the age of reasoning. Nung una, age of enlightenment. Ito, age of reasoning. O gina-justify na yung kanilang mga actions. The focus now completely shifts from faith. They believe in God. They believe in divinity. And now they have this reason not to believe or to, to believe as well. So for the first time, man's faith is not solely at the mercy of God alone, but he is the main architect of his life. May mga nagtatanong, oh bakit ano? Yan tinatawag na age of reasoning. Okay? Sa sanggaaling yan. Dahil din siguro sa paglaganap ng kaisipan na nagkakaroon ng mixture or the blending of the culture, not only the culture, during, no? During trade routes and economic trading from different countries, the influx of ideas also, no? Spreads. Nagkakaroon ng pagtingin, oo nga, no? Ayun. Natututo ang tao. Okay? And they have realized that the man's fate is not only at the mercy of God alone, but he is the main architect of his life. He can decide, he can move freely, and then he has this free will to think and to reason out. So another age of enlightenment during that time. People believe um, into something like existence of God, dogmas or teaching of the church. People tend to think about it. Is this really the thing? No? Or people tend to rationalize first before believing something. Kaya nga ito yung age of reason. Thus, more and more intellectual and scholar reject ideas which is prevalent during those times, including the divine right of kings and queens. Naniniwala sila na ang mga hari ay ito yung sinabi talaga ng Diyos na mamuno during that time. Ito na nga, wherein the legitimacy of the monarch based on this theory is anchored that they were anointed or chosen by God. So they don't question the kings and the queens because they are anointed by God, given by God to lead. So walang tanong-tanong, no? There is an absolute and no one could question them, or else they were also questioning the authority and power of God. And that is blasphemy during that time. So, in some way, na-rationalize yung kanilang knowledge kung ano ba talaga yung mga bagay-bagay. Pero on the side of the empires, the belief, no one questions the absoluteness of the kings and the queens. Pero there are some, no, nagsisimula na. Kaya tinatawag itong age of reason. Okay? Ayan na. Example of this, no, yung the French, no, when they overthrow the Bourbon dynasty. Ito yung mga namumuno na sa habang panahon, yung mga Bourbon family. Executed their monarchs and established a republic, and this is known as the French Revolution. When they started questioning the authority of the king and the queens, ayan na. Marami ng ideyang naganap at napag-isipan, oo nga pa, bakit sila ang ano? Bakit sila nga ba ay they tried to question. So from absolutism to republic, hastened by the Enlightenment philosophies, the revolution put an end to the feudal system as the France absolute monarchy and changed the country's entire political landscape. So binago ng tao, no? Ito yung tinatawag, ito yung pinagsimulan at naging foundation ng French Revolution during that. Okay? Another revolution that we have is the scientific revolution, no? The new zeitgeist, no? Enables new thinkers to develop a systematic way of analyzing, observing things, which came to be known as science. Karoon ng idea uh, to develop a systematic way of thinking and analyzing things. May proseso, that's why it's called scientific. So the observable reality has come to be researched, experimented, analyzed that resulted to different theories and inventions. Different discoveries and inventions occurred on the field of mathematics, astronomy, physics, biology, and chemistry. this new epoch contributed much for the acceleration of technology and the information and opportunities. So lumalaganap na, no, na sa tulong na rin ng scientific revolution. The next is the Industrial Revolution. It is a period that refers to the shape from handmade or small-scale production to mass production made possible by new innovations. Sabay-sabay na nagsisiangatan nito because of the influx of ideas. The ideas to invent, the ideas to discover, the ideas to make life convenience. So ito na, ito ang industrial. Basically, ang industrial revolution based on the makina ito, no? Yung paggamit ng mga makina dahil nagkaroon ng inventions of how things life as convenient as possible. So, nag-create sila ng mas madaling paraan. Communication are now much faster thanks to telegraph than telephone. Most importantly, the increased production of goods related to both and demand for the acquisition of new raw materials and new markets for the excess product they produce. Saan ang galing yung kanina? Na nagpo-produce sila ng sariling food pero sobra-sobra. Ito na, no? Naganap ulit during the Industrial Revolution in which they have excess products, no? That they produce. So, anong gagawin dyan? Kaya yung sa states, no? They produce an entire large amount of units. Kaya kapag may mga sira dyan, hindi na nire-repair sometimes. No? Sira, tapon, papalitan. Kotse na sira, papalitan. Ganun siya, no? Pero dahil sa sobra-sobra production na puproduce ng isang bansa, ay inilalabas ito. What do you call that? Okay? So, ayan siya, no? Ang tawag doon ay imperialism. And imperialism has three types. The colony, country is governed by a foreign power. Let's take a reflection on this kind of on these types of imperialism. This Philippines governed by foreign power. What do you think? Uh, Sir, you may answer, sir, it is not a territorial basis of governance, but these powerful foreign countries has power over economic policies, etc. in our country. That's a form, no? Imperialism. Okay? It's a colony. No? Protectorate naman in which country with its own government but under the control of an outside power. May gobyerno, no? Nangyari ito sa atin nung nagkaroon ng malolos constitutions na pinamumunuan tayo ng mga tagagawa ng batas ng mga Amerikano at saka mga Pilipino. Conditional pa ang pagbubuo ng isang gobyerno. No? Hindi pa natin alam yun eh. Kaya inaalalayan tayo. But in a nutshell, sobra yung control ng mga Spanish administration sa atin. Kaya ito yung tinatawag na protectorate. The third one is the sphere of influence in which area outside power claims exclusive investment of trading privileges. Nangyayari itong sphere of influence. Yes, no? Kapag nagbi-meeting yung mga ASEAN, yung sinabi ko kanina, na talagang merong point of control, point of understanding to follow, and point of understanding to abide on the rules, specifically economic rules and laws over other countries. Sphere of influence. So the increase of production led to the second wave of colonization for the imperialism led by the United Kingdom. Then, brought about by cross-border trade in goods and services, the establishment of economic over other countries, free to extend economic policy. Hindi lang sila nagdadala ng mga produkto, pati yung terms in, di ba, in giving this kind of opportunity for the people na makabili ng ganitong produkto, eh may mga kaakibat pa rin ito mga foreign policies. May mga condition pa. But then it is the still the rest of it is the foundation of globalization. Ganun yun eh, no? Hindi lang naman free trade yan, kundi may mga ano pa rin. We're speaking of imperialism, but there is no territorial acquisition, but a control over foreign policies, economic policies, and social policies. Yun ang tinatawag na neo-colonialism or the new colonialism. It is broadly understood as a further development of capitalism that enables capitalist powers to dominate subject nations through the operation of internal capitalism rather than by means of direct rule. Nagigets ba yon? May namumuno dito at may nagpapasimuno kung ano yung batas policy ang masusunod at dapat sundin. Kung ang Pilipinas sumasali dito sa mga bahagi ng mga countries, may collaboration through political, economic, and social, may mga kaakibat itong mga kumbaga strings attached kung ano yung susundin, ipapalo at most of the time, yung mismong malalaking bansa ang nasusunod dyan, ano? Or yung mismong malalaking grupo ng mga bansa ang nasusunod. Then, other countries will follow. Like the Philippines, no? Hindi tayo nagde-decide kung tataas, bababa ang presyo ng langis. Hindi tayo nasusunod kung sasabihin natin itigil ang gera. Kundi this is actually the dogs of the nation. No? Ito yung mga aso. Ito yung mga alpha countries. Pero in a way, that explains globalization. Yun eh. Hindi, hindi, hindi nagiging mabuti sometimes. No? Hindi naging perfect. No? Yung manner of doing things or the manner in which people are actually abided by this kind of sphere of influence. But in a way, that's part of the globalization. Sana nakukuha na yung point kung paano yung globalization. Okay? So we define colonization as neo-colonialism is the intrusion of foreign economic domination as well as military and political interventions in states that have already achieved independence from colonial. So in a way, globalization is the integration of global economy marked by free trade, free flow of capital, and the exploitation of cheaper foreign labor and raw material markets. And don't be misled, that is part no, of globalization map. Talagang may nakakaangat, may nasa ilalim, merong malakas at merong mahinang country, merong taga pagbigay kung ano ang susundin at meron din mga taga-sunod. Sir, why? Because they are more powerful countries and we are not, no? They are more militarized country no? Na pwede magpagsimula ng ano no ng away samantalang ang small countries ay hindi. So sino ang masusunod doon? Siyempre yung powerful. And that's how globalization works, no? Although it is an integration or collaboration of countries in terms of economic policies and social as well as environmental, pero may nasusunod pa rin dyan kung sino. Okay? Hindi ang Pilipinas, of course. Yung malalaking bansa. So, shifting to globalization as a good understanding of how products reaching other countries and satisfies the needs of this product through this product, eh meron pa rin mahabding bagay kung ano yung globalization. Okay? So, ayan siya. So, this is part one of the lecture. Actually, in several parts ito, no? Kasi nawawala yung internet sa akin. Anyway, listen and then make it as a foundation for your learning of global season at saka as well you have the opportunity or the chance to answer the following questions given to you after the lectures. Okay, thank you for listening and thank you for attending.